All right, so here we are, Southern Geek Fest 2.0 with the Green Goblin Head from
Maximum Overdrive.
Awesome. And now we had talked a little bit before this about where you had gotten it and the authenticity of it and stuff. You mind telling us that again?
Sure. In 1987, a year after the movie came out, a guy saw him taking the truck to the junkyard, and he went down there and they gave it to him. He had it about a month or so, then he had to move to an apartment, couldn't keep it, so he ran an ad in the paper. All my family live in Wilmington, North Carolina, so my brother saw the ad and he called me up and he's like, hey, you might want this for your video store. And I'm like, well, yeah. So I drove all night that night and come back the next day with it. Here's what it looked like. At the end of the movies, you know they blow the truck up. Yeah. Well, they did a pretty good job with it. The head's upside down, but the whole jaw was gone, the top of the ears, and it was all burnt. So we kept that in the video store for about 5 years till we sold the business. And it laid in the backyard for about 20 years till my wife hit the ear and knocked it off with the riding mower. So I moved it inside, and she hated the thing anyway. That's evil, blah, blah, blah. I came home from a job, and there was a guy trying to load it in his truck. And I'm like, so we went through a lot. So anyway, in 2011, my youngest child hit 18. That's what I had planned for this, So I started working on it, restored it, and I spent 2 years, evenings and weekends, bringing it back. And I didn't even know these shows existed. Somebody on Facebook asked where I've been. I said, well, I'm working on a project. Mm-hmm. Well, what kind of project? And I said, a Goblin project. That's kind of stuck. That's on our shirts and everything. So they're like, man, you going to be at Horror Hound? I said, what? What's that? So they started telling me, and so actually I ended up at Horror Hound in Cincinnati. I painted this thing on a Saturday, and the following Friday I was sitting there going, wow. And, there was many times working on this I thought, wow, why am I doing this? But originally, like I say, I didn't know this existed. I was doing it because I felt it had to be done. So when I found out about the shows, I thought, well, it'd almost be a sin to just tuck this thing away and not share it. Yeah. And so at the first show, one good story is I had a girl, she said she was 13, later I was talking to her. She come running up crying that Sunday morning and wrapped her arms around me, and I'm like, what's wrong, honey? And she says, thank you so much for restoring that. So when she did that 2 years, it was all worth it,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Nobody else said anything nice about it. She made it worth it all right there.
So about how many cons do you tend to go to in a year?
I do an average of 10 to 12. I would do one every weekend if I could book it. I mean,
I hear that.
I'm not in it for the money. I do make money, but everything that I make, I put back into the project. I've got a new display that's going to be going probably the first of the year. I have posters from around the world, DVDs, Blu-rays, anything Maximum Overdrive I can find, I get. I've been building a truck to put around this. I've already got it almost completed. Sure, yeah. And it's going to be a really cool display. I'm going to get a diesel pump, and people will be able to put on a pair of coveralls. It says Dixie Boy on it, and put fuel in it or whatever they want to do. Make it a lot better picture. But anyway, like I say, all the money I make, I'm not getting rich. People think I'm making, but I'm not. It seriously all goes back to this, and my goal is to get this out to as many people as I can to see it, because I don't know how many people's like, oh man, I got a story to tell you. When I was a kid, I hear their stories and I share mine, and I share their stories with people, and it makes it all worth it.
Well, hey guys, you heard it here. You need to check it out if it's in a con near you, and we'll post the link below on where you can see where he's going to be and stuff like that for your media. Where is the main link that you want people to go to?
Really, they can find everything out about shows, T-shirts, everything that we sell as well at Facebook, just facebook.com/Green Goblin Head. Yeah, facebook.com/Green Goblin Head, all one word. And I post all of our events there, pictures from them, links to our site, which is thegoblinproject.com. And
all right, well, so facebook.com/the Green Goblin Head, and you can check it all out there. Thanks, guys, for watching.